How are you doing this week?
Good.
Good. How are you doing?
Doing good. Just trying to get coordinated here. Alrighty, how'd it go this week with corrections?
A game changer.
There you
So
go.
well. Yeah. I mean, I would say within 2 hours after speaking to you last Tuesday, he was a different dog.
Very good. Because I know we talked about the pet corrector, we talked about the Caesar Milan method, and I believe the bonker as well.
We went right with Caesar Milan.
Okay. And then have you noticed anything since? Because I know you said that within a couple hours he was behaving differently, but throughout the course of the week, did you see any changes? Did he try to test you guys a bit or anything like that?
He got a little more a little more sassy. I don't know how else to describe it. Like if we were to correct him, he just got a little bolder, would bark back.
Yeah.
But also I realized that it took you'd have to do it harder because he got more comfortable with
it took Denise a minute to get up to that. She thought she was doing an 8. She was probably doing a 4.
Yeah, but even then, I just think that it was him too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He had more of a tolerance for it, I guess.
Oh yeah, because when people look at their dogs or puppies, I feel like, especially puppies, I feel like they look at them as a little teddy bear, right? And but their mom would bite them, and you're just doing a hand jab or whatever, and because you're a human and you're logical, and he's a small little puppy, you're doing all this math in your head of excusing why not to correct them as firmly, whether or not you're thinking of it, it's just subconsciously. And then just thinking wow, this little puppy needs an 8 as opposed to a lower number.
Yeah.
And the bark back that you were talking about is absolutely normal.
Okay. Right. You had said that.
Yeah. It's protest behavior. Essentially I don't know, me growing up, I said, I remember it's only happened once, only to ever talk back to my mom once.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was met with the hand to the face.
Yeah.
Very quickly. That was the first and last time I ever within the moment just talked back.
Sure.
Right. So for Clyde here, I'm glad to hear that you said, I just had to escalate it, and then that changed things, right? Because then he's like, you're not so tough now. For him.
Totally.
Now, as you work with him or start to do this more, he's gonna toughen up. Okay, because especially around the 6-month mark, because that's when dogs start to mature. So 6 months and a year are, in my experience, the pivotal psychological shifts for puppies. So a lot of my puppies or dogs that come in later on with behavioral issues, I try to get information about the dog's background. And almost always at around 6 months or at around a year, they'll say, oh, he was attacked by a dog, or, a shelf fell over and broke glass or something like that. And ever since then, the dog's been different. And I'll ask them, well, how old was the dog? Around 6 months or a year. Okay. So, and plus they just get physically tougher. So I outgrew spanking at some point. And this all depends on the dog. And it's not always like that. But if you start to find as he matures and you're this method is now becoming ineffective or not as effective, the bonker tends to be the next kind of step up if the Caesar Milan's not working as well.
Okay.
Or then there's also training tools like the prong collar or e-collar, things like that. But that's more for after 6 months, if you ever have any questions on that.
Okay, thank you. One thing I do have a question about is I know if he's doing something that we want to correct him on doing, let's say he's jumping on us or he's chasing the cat. Sometimes it's really hard to correct him in the moment or in the act of doing it. So is it still effective to do it as soon as possible after, or no? Right?
Yeah, once he takes off after the cat, by the time we catch up to him,
it's
15, 20 seconds have gone by.
Sure. Now, does he see you approaching him?
Yeah, because if he's jumping on us, he's watching you and kind of scooting back at the same time while jumping. You know what I mean? He's kind of dodging it. He dodges the correction, I guess is the best way to describe it.
And then with the cat, he'll see me coming.
He knows we're chasing
and
him.
Then he'll look and he'll back off, he knows I'm
Yeah.
Well, it seems like he knows I'm coming to
Or
correct
if
him.
you go to correct him, he'll stop then
Yeah.
before you correct him.
Right. So if he ever stops his behavior, you still correct. Because what will happen is he sees you approaching, very common, and he's like, okay, I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
He stops, and you go, you stopped, and you walk away, and he goes, huh. If I'm doing something and they come to correct me, if I stop it, they stop. And then he's going to go right back to doing it.
Yeah.
And you're going to see this game. He's going to play that game where he's going to sit, he's going to do it, and then he'll stop, and you walk away, he's going to go back to doing it, then he'll stop, and it's just back and forth. So I always correct.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well,
That's good to know.
That was our big question.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
with I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, with the whole chasing the cat thing. So, let's say he's chasing the cat, right? And you walk across the room, and as you're walking, he goes from chasing the cat to like playing this run around game,
Yeah.
right? Where he starts like, and he might bark at you and dip
Yeah.
around and run,
Exactly.
right? And you're walking towards him, and he's just doing that, right? He knows the correction is gonna happen, and he's playing a game with you. I take my time. I don't rush. I slowly but surely just keep pursuing him, right? And it can be around 10 to 15 minutes of this.
Ah, okay.
Okay. And you just keep the pursuit. Okay. You don't stop. You just keep walking. And what you'll find is after he realizes, oh, this is not a game, he's going to sit down. He's going to tuck his ears back and he's going to go like this. You still correct.
Okay.
Okay, I've seen that happen so many times in my career. So even though the correction is happening 10 to 15 minutes after the initiation of the correction process, as long as you keep the pressure on, which is the pursuit, he will retain the correction and apply it to what was happening prior.
Okay, great.
Okay?
Okay.
So to give you an example, I used to board dogs out of my home many years ago, and I had a Samoyed named Sammy, and he was staying with me, and I just woke up one night and I heard him panicking and running up and down my house, and I heard what sounded like a faucet. He was peeing, and so I open the front door, and he runs out and right away just starts peeing. Right, so I clean up the mess, whatever. It's like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. It was like the first snow, so it wasn't like terribly cold, but there was snow. And then I go, and I was on the second floor. So I open my front door. I'm like, come on, Sammy, let's go. And he looks at me, and I go, oh, you're going to play that game right now. And he starts running him around my yard. Okay. So I go out there, and I'm just pursuing him for like 10 minutes outside, and he's just zooming around. And eventually he does what I just told you. He sits, he puts his ears back, he ducks his head, and I correct him, and then he runs his butt right back into my front door.
Yeah.
Okay?
Nice. Okay.
The next day, I let the dogs out to go potty, and dogs tend to get spazzy with the snow, so I know why I was happy. He wasn't like being a jerk or anything. He was like, and it's his weather.
Yeah.
He's a Samoyed. The next day, I called the dogs to go inside, and then he does that play bow, and I start to move towards him, and he just put his head down, and I corrected him again. He just ran straight in the house, didn't do it again.
Nice.
Oh,
He retained it from the first time. So I spent 10 to 15 minutes pursuing him nonstop until eventually he just sat down and said, like, okay, this isn't a game anymore, but I still followed through with the correction. Otherwise, the next time he would have just continued with it again.
Gotcha.
That's interesting.
And so like when sometimes I get frustrated because when you got to take him outside and he'll play that game.
All the time.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yep.
so that's a good time to do the correction. Just patiently pursue him and
Yes, but you wouldn't call him.
don't call his name.
Yeah, because so come when called is dog moves to you. Okay. And even if like you're frustrated and you've called your dog, I will agree with any other trainer who says never punish your dog for returning. Okay, because then they're going to think they're going to come to a correction.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
So you would not knowingly put yourself in a situation where it's going to be uncomfortable, either physically or emotionally, right? So like no one, like you wouldn't touch a hot stove on intentionally. Same thing for the dog. They're like, well, if you're going to correct me for coming to you, like, why am I going to do that?
Yeah.
So it's always met with positivity. Okay. But if I'm in the yard, right, and let's say come, but I say, come on, let's go, right? Like a different phrase. I go, let's go, and I just start walking, and then he starts to zoom around. Then I just start to pursue him, right? Correct him, and then I use the front of my body to kind of push them towards the front door.
Gotcha.
So I walk behind the puppy or the dog, and because where your body is facing is essentially where you're directing them. Okay. So what you're doing is you're correcting the run around or the wanting to play chase game, and then using your body language to say go inside. But it's not a come to me.
Yeah.
Okay. So just bear that in mind, because I don't want you to say come and then begin correcting the dog for that, and then working against yourself for future stuff.
Sure, because that is what we do. We're like, Clyde, come, because we're trying to get him out the door because we know he has to use the bathroom, and then we would go chase him.
But we haven't been correcting.
No, we haven't been correcting him.
So I wanted to talk to you first.
One last correction question is, when we are outside, as we've mentioned before, it's all wood chips. And I know you said to use the correction method for the wood chips. It's hard for two reasons. It's hard because you like literally can't see if he's just sniffing to where he wants to go to the bathroom,
or if his
ears kind of cover his mouth, or if he's like chewing. And the correction, when I do correct him, if I can catch it, you know, he's just doesn't seem to care. Like he already has the wood chip in his mouth and he's already chewing it.
Okay. So is it getting him to stop the grabbing of the mulch, or is it getting him to release it?
I think if we could get him to stop grabbing it, would be probably preferred.
Okay. And it's completely all mulch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you take him out on a leash?
Yes.
You do? Okay. What I would do, I mean, it sucks, but what I would do is just anytime I see that nose on the ground, I just assume it's mulch and correct them.
Yeah.
So then I teach them to want nothing to do with mulch.
Gotcha.
You know, so like, you know, if like, let's say you take him out and it's a grassy area, I don't correct him if there's nothing for him that he would, you know, chew on. But here, because if it's too small and you can't make out what's going on, I just assume every time that nose hits the ground, it's because you're going to chew on mulch. And I just correct them right off the bat. Okay.
That would deter him from going to the bathroom out there?
It shouldn't. If anything, because like most people's dogs go out, they sniff and like find a spot and then pee.
Right.
When I take my dogs out, they just pee.
Yeah.
So there's no time frame of like, let me find the spot. Oh, this is nice. I'm gonna poop here.
Yeah.
Because the way I've trained them is when I would take them for a walk, they would get a short break first, and then we'd walk for an hour straight.
Yeah.
Okay. No stopping, unless like no stopping for potty breaks. So if they did stop, I would correct them. So then they end up learning we only have this tiny window to use the bathroom, and then it's a long walk. So it's kind of like with kids, right? Go to the bathroom because we're going to be driving for 4 hours. We're not going to stop.
Yeah.
Okay? The same kind of process. So here, I mean, I've not, to be honest with you, not had to have done this with a puppy before, because most people have access to a grassy area.
Right.
I know.
But I would just say, you know, it sucks that you'd have to correct them because yes, we don't know if he's sniffing or if he's mulch chewing. But I'm just thinking like he's just gonna think, well, I can't delay. I just go out and do my potty thing, and then we're back inside again. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah.
Kind of just speed up the process. But I keep an eye on it because there's nothing to say that it won't not happen.
Yeah.
But if you can't make out what he's doing, you just have to assume it and just correct it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And
But
I don't know if you had the same experience, but for me, a lot of times it's like when we first go out, he'll pee right away.
Yeah.
And then it's okay, let's keep him out here to see if he's got to poop as well. And that's when he starts sniffing around and eating mulch.
And then he will poo.
And then he'll poo.
Yeah. After he eats mulch.
But he does typically like pee right away.
Sure, that's good.
Or he starts messing around and
Yeah.
chewing on stuff. So maybe that's okay.
Yeah.
He's peeing and then we're just correcting him.
Or if you think it's better to correct him once the mulch is in his mouth to release it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you have to check every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it could start with the sniff, and the next thing you know, it's a piece of mulch in his mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the other problem.
Okay.
Okay.
So there's no right or wrong here, really. I would just either one, assume he's just gonna go for mulch and always correct, or two, you can just check routinely to see is there mulch there and allow the sniffing, because I'm not against the sniffing. It's the
Right.
mulch chews that we don't want.
Right.
Unless there's some means of like clearing up an area or moving mulch over, so it's like maybe just the underlying dirt or whatever's underneath, and then just having a potty in that area, at least until he gets past like this puppy stuff. But that the whole grabbing crap off the ground is like for months.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So we live on like the third balcony. So we do have an outside balcony area.
Mhm.
Do you suggest then to put like fake grass out there and to start have him going out there instead of walking him down to the mulch area?
It's an option, but then you have to think about, is that going to be a permanent option?
Yeah. Right.
Okay, because what will happen is like, let's say you do that, and he's using it for like the next 5 months, and then you remove it, and you're just using like maybe the mulch area. And then you fast forward when he's older, and like you let him out in the balcony again. His brain may still be patterned to, I used to pee and poop here,
Yeah.
and even though the fake grass is not there, the dog will go in the general area.
Okay.
Okay, so like when people do potty pads in the house, I always tell them get rid of them right away, because they leave it in the same spot, and like maybe the puppy does go there, and there's other issues with that. But then I'll tell them, well, once you remove that potty pad in the next 6 months, your puppy's going to keep peeing and pooping there, because it's just thinking, well, there's nothing here anymore, but I know I used to go in this general area as a potty, as a bathroom.
Okay.
So that's the only thing that I would think about, is either, is that fake grass or whatever you're going to use be a permanent fixture on the balcony or temporary? Okay. And then if you decide to use it, well, then going forward, if when you remove it and you see the dog Clyde still trying to use that spot, then I would just keep an eye on them, and then you'd have to correct them when you see them about to use it, to teach them like, nope, that's not a spot anymore.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh. Well, yeah, I feel like we kind of hijacked, the last session. So, now that we have the correction and you like, so
That's
like, it was
changed
such a
things
game changer.
significantly,
We'll
really
just kind of defer to you, and we know nothing about puppies. So whatever you would normally, however you would normally start.
Sure. Well, corrections are healthy, and corrections are very important for puppies,
Yeah.
because people excuse puppies too much. Okay, so yeah, so that's completely fine. And if something else pops up, you've paid for my time. I simply show up and I give you the answers you're wanting. Okay.
Cool.
So the next, I guess the next thing typically is just potty training. How is that going?
It's going well. Like, we're staying ahead of it. So recently, other than he had a UTI, we had a few like things that it just made it a little harder. But when his GI tract is normal, I wouldn't say he's trained. I would just say we're on top of it. So we just know when he has to go. So there haven't been accidents.
Yeah, he does really well in his crate.
He does very
So
well.
like during the work week, we'll get up in the morning. Well, that's probably one thing. It's like 6 a.m. Like he's had enough. Or it seems that way. He wants out of the
like
crate.
he goes nuts, and that's the only time he goes crazy, is when he's like, I'm out, I'm up, I want to get out. But any other time of the day when we put him in the crate, he's in there until we get him out, or then the occasion when he's like, crying and barking and he genuinely has to go to the bathroom, we'll like take him right outside to go to the bathroom, and he does go right away.
Okay.
It seems like now that he's normal and he's not battling this UTI thing and stuff, like it feels like most of the time it's our fault, because it's like, shoot, I knew we should have just took him out, but I wanted to finish whatever this was, and then I was gonna wait, and then of course like he does it like 2 minutes after you're like he's about to do it, and then he does it.
I mean, and he definitely like went to the bathroom on our bedspread. We had to take that, so I mean he's like, again, it's just like us staying ahead of it. I just don't know if he's registering though. I go outside only.
But it feels like if he has an accident in the house, it's been like maybe once a day, or we'll go a couple days without any.
What's his schedule? His potty schedule?
So every time before we put him in the crate, we take him out. every time we take him out of the crate, we take him out after we feed him within 15, 30 minutes, we take him out.
After we play
After
with
he's,
him.
yeah, anytime after we've been playing with him, we take him out. And then anytime, like if he's just chilling on the couch with us and he's hanging for, an hour or two and being calm, like before we let him off the couch, although he's learned how to get off the couch recently. Well, it used to be the safe zone. We knew he couldn't get anywhere, like just leave him there for a minute. But, the point being, anytime he's like taking a nap or something for a little while, then we'll take him out right after that. And he seems to like almost go to the bathroom every time.
Anytime he like wakes up from a sleep, we take him out or play.
So I don't know if that's what you meant, but kind of by the schedule, but those are like the times we very consistently take him out,
Okay.
I would say.
So all those things are correct. But a schedule is an actual schedule,
Okay.
like times. Okay. So that's what you're missing here.
Yep.
So so I know you said like 6 a.m. he wakes up, and that's like primarily the only time he goes nuts.
Yeah.
To bark, right? Or to get out.
Yep.
What time does your day start? Like, do you get up at 6 as well, or is it like you get up at 6 because of the puppy?
We're getting up 6.
Because of the puppy.
Like some days I'll get up at 6, but I don't want him to get up with me. I'll be getting up to work out or something.
Okay.
But other days,
I think a safe answer to your question is
Yeah.
like, it's
Puppy.
because of him.
When's his last outing?
So we take him out like what? It's been probably like 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Okay.
and then he wakes up in the middle of the night around midnight-ish.
Well,
but that's been extending.
Last couple nights it's been like he didn't get up until 4:30 a.m. and we took him out at probably like 9:30.
But then if he does that,
So we made
he
it like a
gets-
solid 7 hours.
Right. But then he gets up, so he got up at 4 a.m. and then he'll get up at 6 a.m. And then that's when we go to put him back because we're tired still, he wants out.
Yeah.
What time do you officially go to bed?
Like 10.
Yeah, probably 10 most on average is probably right around there.
What time would you like to wake up?
I think like 7.
It's like 7:30.
Yeah, 7:30 would probably be ideal.
I mean, are we talking during the week, on the weekends?
7. We're gonna say 7:30. Okay.
Okay, we'll say 7:30.
Okay. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna put Clyde on a schedule. Okay. And this schedule is not set in stone. There's gonna be variables. Okay. So I would take out Clyde right before you go to sleep. Okay. So if you go to sleep at 10 p.m. or whatever, at 10 p.m. it's the last thing you do, and then you go to sleep. Okay. That's gonna make the overnight thing easier. Okay. If Clyde wakes up in the middle of the night, whether it's midnight or 4:30, I don't wake up. I let the dog deal with it. Okay. Because what can happen is, and I know you said there's been a couple of nights where he woke up a little bit later, and then he was actually able to sleep through like 7 hours or something.
Yeah.
Is because it's super common, if you take your puppy out at midnight or whatever, when they wake up, you're building a habit.
Yeah.
He's going to learn, I'm going to pee at 2 o'clock in the morning. So I ignore them. Okay. So that he might be yipping or barking, whatever. So then I just correct them. Now, because I'm doing that, I'm expecting I'm going to wake up to a potty mistake.
Okay.
Part of the process. But that's what teaches Clyde to hold it. He goes, I woke up at midnight. I yipped. I got corrected. I piddled in the kennel. He might yip again. I correct him for that as well. And then the next time he's like, when he wakes up at midnight, I tried barking. I got corrected. And then I piddled and I had to sit with it. And I tried barking. I got corrected for that too. He's going to sleep through the night.
Okay.
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 Now, if he wakes up at 6 a.m., there's a couple approaches to this. One is I wake up at 6 o'clock, I correct him, go back to sleep till 7:30. Okay. But I expect to come back to a potty mistake. Okay. Or you slowly, week by week, push it 6, then ignore him to 6:15, then ignore him to 6:30, then ignore him to 6:45, right? So you build to the time that you want each week, kind of just progressing 15 minutes. I don't care what you do. They're both perfectly valid methods. You can actually even apply this to the overnight thing. I've had some clients that if they lived in a condo or apartment building, they couldn't ignore the dog barking because it's middle of the night. That I'll tell them, then you can do just push back. It's just going to take longer. But I also correct anything that I don't want.
And so you're opening the crate and correcting them and closing it again?
Yeah, or you can even like bonk the crate. Like some puppies will be susceptible or receptive to like even just whacking the crate. It won't make the crate a negative thing or anything like that because it's momentary, right? It's only when he barks. If he's in there calm, nothing happens. So we correct the puppies here and we correct the dogs here in their crates and stuff, and they're perfectly fine.
Okay. And then when you do that, do you say no or no?
No, I just correct.
No verbal. Okay.
Because I want to eliminate it. Remember?
Right. Because if we were to open that crate door, he's gonna go like nuts and just like run around the bedroom. So you think bonking it would be a better idea?
Yeah. If you end up having to open it, I open it slowly, and if he's trying to push out, I just keep opening it slowly, and then until he goes like this, right? He perks a little head through, and then I close the gate. Okay, so I catch the puppy between the kennel threshold and the gate.
Gotcha.
And I just slightly put pressure, and I keep increasing that pressure, and eventually you're squeezing them, right? And it's on the side of the neck, so as long as I've never had a dog do this, but as long as it has not twisted and it's on the jugular, you're fine. And I catch them, and if I can catch them a good firm little pop, you'll hear a yip and they'll run back. And then what you've taught them is when I open the gate, it doesn't mean freedom.
Yeah.
It's freedom when I say you can come out.
Yeah. Okay.
Like my dogs are trained where if I came home and I opened the gate of their kennel and decided to walk away and make a sandwich, and then 30 minutes later came back, they'd be in the kennel still.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Because until I say now you can come out, me opening the gate means nothing. And this actually helps with separation anxiety. Because most of the time when people come home or like in the morning, you say like he's just a crazy little nutball, it's because he's like, I'm ready to go. But you'll see if you apply this correction, you're going to start coming to the kennel and he's going to be completely chill because there's no meaning behind it anymore.
Oh, I got it.
Because that what creates the excitement is the fact that he knows he's going to get to come out.
Yeah.
He knows it's a guarantee.
Yeah.
There are no guarantees unless I tell you you can come out, you're staying in there.
So if we were approaching the kennel to correct him for barking at a time we don't want, that we're not ready to take him out, and we open the door and we do that door correction, is that the correction then for it all, or is that just addressing him coming out of the kennel and then we
That's addressing him for coming out the kennel, but it works backwards.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because what fuels the barking is the fact that he wants to get out the kennel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense? So you do both, right? So if it's middle of the night, I don't want to get up and have to open the kennel. I can just bonk it, right? Go back to sleep. But in the morning at 6 a.m. or 6:30 or whatever, when I go to open it and he's a little ball of crazy, I use the gate to correct him. And then what you end up, both of those things actually work on the barking. Okay. Because one is for the barking itself, and the other is what's fueling the barking, which is the want or desire to get out of the kennel.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Okay.
Because he can think, I want to get out of this all I want, but I'm going to be met with the door.
Yeah.
A door to the face, so it's pointless.
Yeah.
Both approaches are perfectly fine. You can either just slowly open it and he'll squeeze his head through, and I'll slowly start to close it and squeeze, and you'll feel him squirm. When you feel the squirm, that's when I ease the pressure and he'll back off and I'll close it.
Okay.
Slowly open it, close, right? Just kind of back and forth. And then I might close it and walk away, come back 5 minutes later, because I'm putting it on my terms. Okay. What can happen is people create a pattern where it's alarm goes off, I run for my puppy, I run them outside, all within the span of a minute. So then the puppy hears that alarm go off, and then you decide, I want to sleep in today. And he's like, no.
Yeah.
Over here.
That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. So what I suggest too is when you wake up in the mornings is sometimes you get up, brush your teeth, get ready, then come let him out, change up the time frame. Don't always make it consistent. Because even if you delay it 30 minutes after the alarm, he's going to catch on to that 30-minute timeline. Then he's going to start barking when it's been 30 minutes.
Okay.
Does the cat have questions too?
Yeah.
This is Charlie.
Yeah. How do you get this puppy out of here?
He knows about corrections.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Well, it's
By the way,
interesting.
yeah, does she correct the puppy?
Yeah. So,
Mhm.
and when she does, Clyde barks right back at the cat.
The cat will like 1-2 punch him.
Yeah, like a quick little Floyd Mayweather. It actually brings me back to a question I had when we were talking back by the correction thing. So did I hear you correctly? When we correct him and he goes back and he's barking back at us, are you correcting him again? Like, no, don't bark at me?
Correct. Because it's just like when my mom scolded me.
Yep.
I talked back.
She smacked you.
Oh,
So that's what I
we're
was
not doing
curious
that.
about.
Yeah.
And so when he's barking back at the cat, I should take that opportunity to.
You can, yeah,
too.
right. Because for the cat, cats and dogs have more patience, right? So like a dog would come in and bite them, but if you kept barking, they may just let it go and whatever, right? But they may have gotten a good bite in because it's teeth. But you can absolutely do that for the cat too, because what could potentially happen is even though the cat's correcting him, the cat's not going to the extent needed. And Clyde, as he matures and gets tougher and more confident, he'll start to push back on the cat. So then what you're doing is just reinforcing, go like, no, you got to respect the cat too.
Okay.
Okay.
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Just leave the cat alone.
Yeah. So what you do, and that's a good question, is you might even see Clyde curl his lips and snap at you. Okay. Because what's happening is you're correcting him and you're trying to achieve respect. And for humans, respect can be given. Okay. I was raised, you respect your elders, you respect the authorities, you respect firemen, you respect teachers, right? And I went to school just naturally respecting these people. In the dog or animal world, respect is earned. It's not given. Okay. Which is why I think I mentioned last class where I stressed to those who get power breeds like Rotties and German Shepherds and Spitties and all that stuff, all those really powerful dogs, is when they're puppies, I go establish that stuff now so that your dog respects you when it's older, makes life a lot easier, as opposed to coming in a year or two later when they're an adolescent or an adult dog who doesn't respect you, period, and now they got big old teeth, right? So for a puppy, even though the puppy is only 2 months, right? I'll get puppies at 2 months and the owner will try to correct them. The puppy will growl and snap and bite at them. And they'll say, oh my God, are you making my dog aggressive? I go, no. I'm like, your puppy has a very high level of confidence. And he's going, who are you to correct me? Even at 2 months.
Yeah, he's done that to me.
Yeah.
I don't know if he does it to you, but he'll come back and like get more aggressive with me.
So then I correct even firmer.
Okay.
And until and he might even yip and run his little butt away from you. That's
nice.
Factor, okay? It's not going to make him scared of you because you do a lot of stuff with Clyde. You feed him, you play with them, you rest with him, you walk him, right? Discipline is a small picture of everything a small piece of the picture that you do with him, right? For me, when I used to come in for my private puppy clients, when I used to do the home-to-home with them, the puppies would always like go in the corner when I came over. And owners are like, oh, the puppy doesn't like you. I'm like, yeah, because every hour I'm here, it's discipline.
Right.
So the puppy just goes, this guy is here. But with the owner, they're like, but the dog's completely fine with me. I'm like, yeah, because you balance it out. And if I cared for that puppy, like if they came to board with me, the next time I would see them, they'd be completely fine because they learned, oh, Jesse isn't all discipline. Jesse also does other things, but they just never saw that side of me because I only saw them for an hour.
Sure.
That makes
sense. So so don't feel as if you're making your dog aggressive. You're achieving the respect factor, and even though he's only 2 months, you have to earn it from him. Okay. I would be mindful of like if he's in his kennel, or like let's say I correct him and he runs in his kennel and he's barking at me and I go to correct him in the kennel, I would anticipate he's going to be even more so aggressive.
Yeah.
Because there's only one entrance. Right, there's only one way in, so he's got an advantage technically. Okay, so whenever I correct a dog or a puppy, I always think to myself, I might get bit. Okay, and not because the dog is aggressive, but it's because we're having a conversation. And just like with people, if we got a bully, right? If the bully goes unchecked, the bully continues to bully. But if the person or somebody else comes in and puts that bully in their place,
pops him in the jaw.
no longer bullying that person anymore.
Okay.
Right. So the same thing for dogs. It's completely natural. It's how they establish hierarchy, amongst themselves and stuff. But
Mhm.
when people see that, they when they're like, oh, you're making the dog aggressive. I hate that because they treat aggressive as a character trait. Okay. Anybody and everybody, animal and human, is capable of becoming aggressive. It just depends on the context. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yep.
that
So
does.
it says, oh, that's an aggressive dog. I'm like, I see a scared dog that when put under too much fear will bite you. That's not an aggressive dog.
Sure.
Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
does.
So if that happens, just be mindful of it. Take your time, right? We do a correction. Let's say he snaps back. I do a firmer correction. Wait a moment, see what he does. He gets up, walks away. You might even see him shake. The shake is him letting go of the situation.
Nice.
It's called a
Oh.
stress shake.
I've seen him do that. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's him just resolving any tension and going, okay. He's like, I try to talk back. I got to put it in my place. I'm gonna let it go.
Carry on.
He's
Yeah.
learning that moment. So
Okay. And when we correct him by bonking the crate, are you using the bonker or you can just smack it with your hand?
you also smack the kennel with your hand.
The
But
crate.
like, you want to make some bonkers, so you can just throw them at the crate from bed. Like,
Ah,
That's pretty sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so right now in his kennel there is like a Tempur-Pedic like pad,
Mhm.
and then also like a blanket.
Mhm.
So if we now need to anticipate accidents, what do you recommend putting in that kennel with him for act to?
Well, what you can do is just remove the bed, leave the towel or blanket. I usually recommend a white one, so you can check for any,
yeah.
and then see what happens.
Oh.
And if you see the mistake happens, you can give it a couple of more nights to see if it resolves itself. Because once he learns, like, all right, I'm not going to be let out at midnight or whatever anymore, he should just sleep straight through. Otherwise, if you see it looks like he's not learning the lesson of the overnight piddle, whatever, because the blanket or bed is an absorbent surface, it's not as uncomfortable. So then I remove everything and I leave just a blank,
The
kennel
yeah.
Like the
pad
plastic
or whatever it
bottle.
is.
Okay.
And so if he piddles or whatever, it's a puddle now.
Yeah.
Now he's got to have to avoid it.
Okay.
But expect to have to bathe him and stuff. But it's he's a small little pup now, so it's easier to do all the stuff, do all the dirty work now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy, an easy wash as opposed to waiting months before trying to be, hard ass about it, and then I have a bigger dog to clean up.
Right.
Sure. What
And-
about, because he does poop in the middle of the night. He usually poops during like the midnight or the 4 a.m. let out. Same thing, doesn't matter. Like, will he poop in the crate or they will never? do that?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Same thing.
And so now what we'll talk about is feeding schedules and stuff, because that'll help with the pooping.
Yeah.
Real quick question. So he's what, 5 months old?
He's about 5 months old
about
now.
5 months old.
Oh yeah, he's more than able to hold it overnight. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So if we take
That
him,
little, so he's totally taking advantage of us.
so if we take him out at 10 p.m., like at that age, he should be okay till 7 a.m.
At 2 months, they're okay overnight.
Okay, cool. All right. Feeding.
We totally did not know that was
Awesome.
the case.
At
That's
2
good.
months, my puppies are sleeping through the night.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
We've babied him,
Yes.
so it's
Where
on us.
were you weeks ago?
That's why we're talking. Yeah, yeah.
Nightless sleepless nights. I can't even say the word because I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, 2 months, puppies are able to sleep through the night.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
It's just, again, people, I understand puppy and stuff, but because they're inactive. So the schedule that we're going to put him on is when he's active. Okay. So the general rule of thumb is an hour per month is what he's able to hold it for. So technically he's able to hold it for up to 5 hours
Gotcha.
when he's awake and active. Okay. But that's why I was asking what the schedule is. And there, you have a routine, not so much a schedule.
Exactly.
Okay. You have in the morning, you have before bed, and then I have before and after crate, after eating, play, and napping, right? Which are all correct things, but there's no schedule.
Right.
Okay. So even though he's 5 months, we're gonna start from ground zero and then build him back up, because we have to teach him to go on a pattern. Dogs are very good about picking up on patterns. So that's why I said earlier, if you wake up at 6 and always run him out, he's gonna learn that.
Yeah.
And try to sleep in, he's not gonna let you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay? So we're gonna put him on a 2 hour routine, okay, or schedule. And we're gonna start the schedule at Monday through Friday. It's 7 o'clock wake up time. Is it? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Are you gonna wake up at 7?
Yeah. Opposed to 7:30.
Yeah, so we'll say 7:30 wake up time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what you can do is you can do 7, and then remember, because remember, you want to fluctuate when you take them out. Take them out after the 7 a.m. start, right? So maybe it's right at 7. Maybe it's at 7:15. Maybe it's at 7:30.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So between 7 and 7:30, we'll fluctuate it.
Okay.
Correct. So that's your window. Okay. Is once you're ready, you immediately remove them, take them to the potty area on a leash like you have been. I recommend when you see him going pee or poop, if you'd like, is you use some kind of phrase, like go potty or go pee or whatever it is you want to use. And when he goes, after he's done, good boy, and give him a treat if you've not done that.
Okay.
Okay. That's just to promote that potting outside is a good thing. It can be like a little piece of cheese, a little piece of chicken, whatever it is.
We boiled some chicken. That's good?
It's perfectly fine. You can
Cool.
use that. Okay. And I also recommend changing it up so it's not always the same thing.
Gotcha.
And then so that'll help. What'll happen is come the colder months, because snow's gonna come and all that, is if you really condition him and you say go potty, it's not gonna make him go potty like that, but it's gonna speed up the process.
Cool.
Okay. So you're not waiting out in the cold for a long period of time.
Okay, cool.
So-
So we say go potty while we see him doing it, or no? We just get out there and we say it, and then we reward him when he actually.
Right when you see him about to or as he's doing it.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
And that's like the one thing that I will repeat, like go potty, go
Yep.
potty, go potty, right? And then once he's done, good boy, and an immediate reward.
Got it.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay.
So like let's say you take him out at 7:30, he pees and poops, and you feed him breakfast, and then 30 minutes later you take him out again, right?
Yep.
Let's say it's 8 o'clock to make things easier.
Yep.
And he pees. The next outing wouldn't be until 10 p.m. Now, actually, there's another variable here. You guys work from home currently?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I'm home every day.
Or is he kenneled during the day with you?
He is.
Kennel.
We try to kennel him. We try to mirror like if we were both in the office. So
Perfect. Yeah, keep doing that. Okay.
Okay.
So this is going to be on a weekend day, or like after work ends, where this routine's gonna kick in. Okay. So we're gonna pretend it's a Saturday, just to clarify things a bit.
But when
So
he's
at 8 o'clock-
active and he's not resting, kind of thing.
Correct. He's gonna be up and about, free.
Gotcha.
Okay. Because Monday through Friday, if you're keeping to that, 9 to 5 kind of you're away from a schedule, that's good. You leave that as is.
Okay.
Okay. We
Um,
are taking him out though at noon. Like
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
We'll take him for a walk. We'll feed him. He'll go to the bathroom and we'll back up.
Correct. That's all fine.
Okay. Cool.
So on Saturday, you take him out 7:30, you feed him breakfast, 8 o'clock, you take him out again, and then he's done. So his next outing wouldn't be until 10 o'clock. Okay. You're watching him, and then like let's say at 9:30 he wakes up from a nap. That would be the time that you typically take him out to go potty, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to do that.
Okay.
We're going to put him in the kennel until 10 o'clock.
Ah,
Okay. But you are right. After a puppy naps, you would want to take them out to go potty.
okay.
Okay. But we're trying to put him on a schedule so he learns how to hold it. Okay.
Nice.
So what you're doing is you're teaching him to go potty every time he needs to go potty. And I'm going to teach him to go potty when you're taking him out. So I'm
Okay.
putting him on your schedule.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So let's say at 9:30 he wakes up from a nap. I know he's got to pee, but instead I'm going to put him in the kennel for the next 30 minutes. Okay. At 10 o'clock, I take him out. He goes pee. If I know he doesn't have to poop, we're good. Next outing is at 12 o'clock. Okay. Let's say at 9 o'clock, he just finished a real heavy play. 11 o'clock, he finishes a real heavy play session. We would typically take him out to go potty. I would put him in the kennel until 12.
Till 12. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm making him close that 2-hour gap. Okay. So let's say you put him in there and then 11:30, he can't hold it. He pees in the kennel. I don't take him out. I don't clean him up. I leave him in there. He might start barking. I correct him. At 12 o'clock, I go get him, take him out the potty, clean up the kennel, clean him up, reset my clock again.
Gotcha.
Okay. Because remember, every time he has a potty mistakes are good when they're learning experiences, which means in the kennel.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So what happens is he's going to start thinking like, hey, I'm not getting all those outings anymore. And now I'm being put in my crate. And sometimes I have to go to the bathroom. And if I go, I have to sit next to it. It's going to start incentivizing him to hold it. Okay. And then we just keep repeating this every 2 hours. If you're home all day, you're just repeating that pattern. Okay. There are a couple exceptions, and you can have exceptions. Okay. Because typically what people have an issue with is they feel like they're crating their puppy too much. Okay. And they feel bad because they want to enjoy the puppy year, the puppy months. Right. So then I tell them that's fine if you want to give your puppy more opportunities to be out the kennel. So like, let's say after that play session, I said personally, I would just crate him for an hour. But if you decided, well, like he's been in the crate all morning because X, Y, and Z, I don't have a problem if you take him out after that play session to potty, and then you would just start your 2 hour clock from there.
Gotcha.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Okay. So there can be exceptions. It's not super black and white. I'm very black and white because I want to train the puppy as fast as possible. But again, people want to enjoy their time with the puppy. So I understand as well. And I go, these are the options. You pick and choose how you want to approach it. Okay. So like, let's say you take him out at 12, right? He does his business, but then you feed him at 12 as well. Right. But then after he eats, you're like, well, he's going to have to go to the potty again. Technically, according to the way I do my schedule, I would kennel the puppy.
Until 2.
Right. Until 2.
Okay.
But I go, he just went out, he just got out the kennel or whatever, and he just ate. So instead, I'm just going to take him out to go potty like I normally do. And then again, start my clock after the potty after lunch.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're going to do that. And you can progress the schedule faster because he is 5 months. Okay. So what I do with puppies at 2 months is, again, it's an hour for the every month that the puppy is. So if I get the puppy at 8 weeks, every week I increase my schedule by 15 minutes. Okay. So by week 12, the puppy is now 3 months. I'm at 3 hours, but it's 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes that it works perfectly. So I can either increase the time frame between the potty breaks incrementally, week by week, or I just do for the first month, the puppy's on a 2 hour schedule. And then at 3 months, they're on a 3 hour schedule. Then at 4 months, a 4 hour schedule. And I just slowly approach it like that, right? So there's no right or wrong. Just some people don't like keeping tabs of 15-minute increments each week. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
So in your case, what I would do is put them on a 2 hour schedule for like at least 2 weeks. And then at the 2 week mark, you bump them to 3 hours.
3 hours. Okay.
Okay. And then at 2 weeks after that to 4 hours. So you catch up to where he's at faster. Because at about 6 months is when a puppy can technically hold it to an adult level. Okay. It just has to be taught. But he's going to be a little delayed because we're coming in at 5 months and he doesn't have a real clear schedule yet. Okay.
That makes sense.
Now, let's say you take him out at 12, but at 1 o'clock, you're going to go shopping and you're going to be gone for 3 hours. Okay. So technically his next potty outing is at 2 o'clock. So what I would do here is, even though I took him out at 12, I'd run him out before I leave, put him in the kennel, leave for 3 hours, come back, let him out at 4 o'clock, and then start my clock at 4 o'clock.
4. Okay.
Okay. So you wouldn't come back midday to let your puppy out, because when he's in the kennel, he's incentivized to not potty because he's in that space. So that's why I use the 9 to 5 schedule to help people while they're at work train their puppy to hold it for longer, because they're in there for about 8 hours. Okay. So, and if there's mistakes, it's fine, because if the puppy is barking, whatever, nobody's home. So the puppy's not going to annoy anybody. So I use that to my advantage. So whether you're going to be gone for a couple hours or 4 hours, 6 hours, it's fine. That's what the kennel is for. Okay. So if he has a mistake, he just thinks to himself, man, the next time I'm in here and I have to go to the bathroom, I better hold it.
Got it.
Okay.
That
Right?
makes-
So just restart the clock if we're not
And then
strict with every 2 hours. We go decide to take them out, just restart the 2 hours from there
and if you're gone for the afternoon, you come back, you take them out right away
and then restart it.
and then restart it. Okay.
And so would you, if we get up to that 4 hour period and, so are you saying at this stage early, we want to train them quicker? Like you'd go, even though we're maybe home, you'd put them in there at noon and not take them out till 4? Does that make sense?
I guess during the work week, you're saying Monday through Friday?
Oh yeah, I use that to my advantage because, so like, let's say he was 2 months, right? Let's say Clyde was 2 months right now.
Yeah.
I would tell you, Monday through Friday, kennel your puppy from 9 to 5. Then the afternoon outing is fine because I also don't want separation anxiety.
Okay.
Right? Because that's going to help with separation anxiety. But during those 8 hours, your 2-month-old puppy would be learning to hold it for a longer increment of time.
Okay.
But on the weekends, when he would be free and active, we would be doing the 2-hour schedule.
That makes sense.
Okay? So they kind of go hand in hand where you're pushing him and how long he can hold it for during the week while you're working. And then on the weekends, you're doing the 2-hour ones because now you're trying to put them on a schedule.
Yep. Okay.
Sure.
And then after work, your 2-hour schedule starts.
That's what I was going to ask you. Okay. So then when we get them out of the crate, start the clock for the 2 hours
Gotcha.
until 10 p.m. when we crate them till 7 a.m.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
And when he's going nuts at 6 a.m., I mean, we just got to deal with it, right? He's going to bark for a while and bop it and correct him. And
yeah, just bonk it,
just
correct it. And
just
you're
don't
teaching him like, hey, like, no, we're not going to let you be demanding.
Yep. And he'll probably be nuts for a few days, I'm sure, but eventually
Yeah.
we'll quiet down.
If you're doing a really good correction, like it's a very quick process.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, just like my mom, when I talked back that one time, only
Yeah.
one time. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And then again, you're not saying anything when you're correcting because we want to eliminate the behavior.
Yeah, we don't want it.
You're just teaching them, nope. When you're in the kennel, you wait for us and we'll let you out and don't try to barge out that front door. And then what you're going to start to see is he's going to be a lot more calmer.
Sure.
Okay. Because that barking and stuff is kind of like a tantrum. And when you take them out, you're rewarding the tantrum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Every time we do it, I'm like, no, we shouldn't be doing this, but
yeah. But now you have the answer for it. So
yeah, totally.
that's
And
true.
then to that end too, like if it's really bad and he's kind of ignoring our corrections, is it okay for us? Like, so he's in our bedroom right now, but we have a second bed. Can we like relocate to the second bed or should we stay in the room with him
well, you can relocate.
and just like still ignore it if it just makes it easier for
I
us?
couldn't address him or anything like that. I was just
Yeah.
like, all right, if you already tried it, bark your brains out because
That's
Okay.
what we did this morning. We didn't acknowledge him. We just went over to the other room.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, got it. And then leave it dark in the room and stuff and everything.
leave it how it would be normally.
Okay.
Okay, got it.
That's good.
I don't accommodate puppies or dogs.
Yeah.
They accommodate the household.
Okay.
Okay. Otherwise, you're gonna make your life miserable.
Yep.
Okay.
We're already really
We're
tired.
working on it.
We're really tired all the
So
time.
many people accommodate their dogs, man. They are not happy.
Yeah.
And then I come in because everybody's telling them what they think they should be doing, and they're just like so high strung. They're like, oh my god, this is such like how a stressful. Just it was meant to be something positive for me.
Right.
And
It's really stressful.
just and anxious. It's making me super anxious. I'm like, no. I'm like, you have what you want. You're not being mean. Otherwise, you're gonna have a very unhappy life with your dog, and nobody wants that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Other questions?
Oh, well, sleep is huge, so that's exciting to know that can come in the future.
That makes sense too. We've had like a routine, but not a true schedule. So that's really helpful.
Oh yeah, one other question is lately whenever I'm opening the crate, like there's some times where he just barges out, but like lately he gets like all wiggly. I don't know how to explain it. And he's kind of like laying and he'll like
Oh
roll
yeah, he's just getting submissive. Yeah.
What is
Yeah,
he
he
doing?
is. He's being really submissive.
He's
Yeah.
being very submissive and we have to like coax him out almost.
Sure.
But that's even
Yeah.
after a tantrum. Is that like a good sign or what is
Did
that?
that start this week or was that prior as well?
I've noticed it this past
Yeah,
week.
that seems recent.
It's recent.
Yeah.
Okay. So what that may be is that now that you're correcting him, he's learning his place. So he's not sure if he's going to be corrected.
That makes sense.
Okay. So I just ignore it. Clip the leash on him, run him out and stuff like that. Because that can happen when you're correcting a dog. They have to learn to differentiate what is going to garner the correction.
Okay.
Because you approaching him is technically a cue for I'm going to correct you.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
just not
After he just got done barking, right?
yeah.
He's not differentiated that it's you're correcting him because of something he's doing.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
he's perceiving like, am I going to get in trouble? So I just ignore it, clip him up, and then he goes, oh, okay, nothing happened.
Cool.
And eventually he'll start to learn, like when he barks, or when he's like yipping in the kennel, or if he's like nipping at your pant legs, he'll start to differentiate like, oh, these corrections are for these things, not because they just randomly decided to come over and correct me.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then also one last question, sorry. When we take him out, what kind of collar do you recommend that should be on him when he's just out for a quick bathroom, potty break, and then he's going back inside? Like we're not taking him on a walk. I'm sorry?
What is he on now?
So we're trying to use the gentle leader for walks.
Sure.
But when we take him out to go to the bathroom,
Just
he's
a
on just a
regular
regular neck collar.
I would use a gentle leader for everything.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. It'll actually help with your mulch problem too.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it tries to go for you, just pull up and you can keep his head up off the ground.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So gentle leader you can use for everything. The more you expose him to it, the more comfortable he'll get with it.
He's doing better and better walking with it.
I tried to take him out today to the bathroom using it, and he just ends up like rubbing his nose in the mulch, and he just like doesn't. He just is so distracted by it, he doesn't go to the bathroom. If that makes sense.
So then, and this is optional. So like, let's say I have a puppy and I'm trying to train on the gentle leader, but at the same time potty train. Is if I take him out at 8 o'clock in the morning and he's got the gentle leader on, he doesn't go. He goes back in the kennel. Gotta wait till 10 o'clock now, right?
Yeah.
He's gonna. So I'm very strict with how I approach it, just because I don't want to have to. By putting gray area, you're prolonging the process, right? Which I don't care, but like a lot of owners want the result now, but then they don't want to do like the hard ass approach that technically requires, right?
And so it's, hey, we took you out at 8. You didn't go. You're back in the kennel till 10.
There's no freedom. There is no freedom unless you know he is good.
Okay.
Okay, so like let's say you take him out at noon and you know he typically poops at noon, right? I don't give him freedom. I pop him in that kennel until 2 o'clock, right? And then I let him out. Because what happens is people go like, oh, like he didn't poop. I know he's got to poop, but I'll keep an eye on him. And then next thing you know, there's a poop, right? So if there's going to be a poop, then I'm like, well, I might as well use it to my advantage and kennel him and use it as a learning experience.
Okay.
Okay, got
You
it.
know?
How
So-
do we know when we're gonna poop? How should we know when he's gonna? How should we know when he's gonna poop?
When do you feed him?
Say it again.
What time do you feed him?
7:30 and 7:30 noon and 6 p.m.
How big is he? How much does he weigh?
Last time we took him, he was 8.5. He's got to be.
He's got to be like
10
12,
pounds,
10,
11
between
maybe.
10
Yeah.
and 12.
Okay, and he's 5 months.
He's
Yeah.
like 4.5 months.
Okay. How often does he poop a day?
Well, it was tough because he got giardia and he was pooping more, and then
Let's say 3 times,
three,
4
maybe
times
4.
a day.
Yeah.
I don't know, because he always has the runs a lot. So
All right, you're gonna have to talk to Maddie about that, because that's probably a diet issue.
okay. Yeah, when he does, we'll go to like rice and just his kibbles, and it really cleans it up. And then, so yeah, we'll have to talk to Maddie because.
Yeah, I'll talk to her. She's here today. I'll talk to her to set up a Zoom with you.
Oh, thank you.
Because if there's consistent running poo, like it's not solid, it's most likely a dietary issue.
Okay.
Sensitive stomach. Yeah, there's got to be something involved with that. Okay.
Okay.
But it sounds like you're feeding them the appropriate amount, because it's typically 1 poop per meal, with the variable of 1. Okay, so 3 to 4 poops a day on a 3 meal schedule sounds about right. Okay. Is if you keep them on a schedule, the poop should be regular. Okay, so like so if you do 7, 12, and 7 every day, like that's going to be his body schedule. I would think at 5 months, if you'd like, you can remove. I usually do 6 months, but you said maybe 4.5, 5 months. If you want to remove the middle meal, I typically do it around 6 months. But if you want to experiment with that, just to make, all you would do is like, let's say he got 3 cups a day and it was a cup. Is it would just be a cup and a half, cup and a half.
Okay, so same
Sure.
amount, just 2 times instead of 3.
And what's the benefit of doing that earlier than 6 months?
Less poops,
Oh, let's
Gotcha.
less poops, and how'd you say more consistent or more easily readable schedule.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right, because now you're going down to 2 to 3 poops a day.
Yeah.
Okay, and I would do probably a 7 o'clock feeding to like a 6 p.m. feeding, or 8 feeding and a 6 p.m. feeding, whatever. And then when he wakes up in the, like, my guys eat once a day because they're adult dogs, and I feed them just before bed, and they poop in the morning, and like I know that like they're good.
They're done pooping. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So occasionally they'll poop twice, but it's usually just the one poop in the morning, and then they should be fine. So that's my personal preference. I know Maddie feeds. We were talking about it the other day because we feed all our boarding dogs before bed because it's easiest. And then she was like, "You feed them at like 9 o'clock at night?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "It's easy because they just eat and they go poop in the morning, and then we're fine." But her dog eats dinner at 5.
Gotcha.
So,
Got it.
you know,
So it's okay for us to be feeding him at 6. He'll just have to poop like a half hour after, and then
yeah. And then if there's another one, because you're bumping it a little earlier, like because you said there's like that 4 a.m. poop or whatever, it'll either help push that back further or push it a little bit earlier so he gets that out the way before bed.
Cool.
got it.
Okay. And then does he have free access to water, or is it, do you put it
Yes.
down?
He does have free access to water.
Okay. I would put that up.
Okay.
Okay.
Problem is that it's like
We'll figure it out.
We'll
It's
figure
the
it out.
cat's water, but we'll figure that out.
Yeah, for the cat, you can just put up on the counter or somewhere.
yeah, and he'll get up there. Okay.
But for dogs, it's generally an ounce per pound. So if
Okay.
he's like 12 pounds, he's technically supposed to get 12 ounces of water a day. So you could do like 4 ounces for breakfast, 4 ounces for lunch, 4 ounces for dinner. You can always give a bit more if he's had a bit more activity, but at least now you're aware, like, oh, he's probably going to have to pee a bit more because we gave him a little more than usual. Once he's potty trained, you can leave water out for it's fine. Food
Okay.
is never left out because that
Yeah.
creates picky eaters. Plus, your cat might steal it too. But this will help put the potty schedule also on a more consistent pattern,
Sure.
because you're controlling when he's getting the water.
Okay. Even if we just like took him for a good, run in the park or something, if we already gave him water with a meal, don't come back and give him water.
You can give him a little water, but now you're aware of it.
You're
Okay.
you're controlling.
Sure,
it.
sure, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you give him because then you would expect in 15 to 30 minutes he's probably gonna have to pee.
Right.
But if it's free water and he just goes and you don't notice it, you don't know when the next potential.
Oh, I hear you.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
I think that's it. It's real basic stuff. Just put them on a schedule. Decide what you want to do with like the, after eating, after playing, after napping type of thing. Again, I don't care what you do. Now you just have a pattern to go by, and then we'll see how he does, and then attempt to sleep through the night.
Yeah.
Uh,
Right. Well, I wasn't sure
Well,
about the correcting part, so
yeah.
that's good to know.
Thank you so much again.
awesome.
You've already changed our lives dramatically. So
Yes,
I'm looking forward to this next week.
If you'd like to know, like when it comes to like the obedience stuff and the treat training, if you go to our YouTube channel, I've made a couple of puppy videos or puppy playlists. Most of them are with Maddie.
Yep.
So if you want to just kind of start training, like sit and down and stuff, you can either look up YouTube videos or you can go to our channel, look up our playlists, and watch other puppies and how we approach it. Because that you can start doing if you're not doing it already.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
He
So
knows
we
how to
can.
sit.
He can
so
sit.
far. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's-
stuff you can do because it's easy, and I can always come in and like help you address things that you're having problems with.
And
Okay,
is
cool.
obedience like when it like getting them to listen, like come here? Is that part of that too?
Correct.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
And is that like where you do the luring to help him know the cues, or no?
Right. So obedience is like, so like you said, he knows sit, right? And like, let's say you taught him some other stuff, and like by maybe class 4, because this is like FYI,
Yeah.
right? How do you correct your puppy? How do you prevent things potty training, right? It's all FYI. But then we get all that out the way, and then you're like, hey, Jesse, we'd like to work on obedience stuff. And, Clyde knows sit. And then we'll go, show me your sit. And you'd show me a few of them, and I go, okay, looks good. This is how we're going to advance it. Okay. Or don't do this because you're going to create bad habits.
Okay.
If I can come in at any point, because obedience with food with puppies, super simple stuff. You can't screw your puppy up. Okay. It's think of it as like little just fun stuff to help develop his brain. So feel free to go on YouTube, watch videos and stuff.
Cool.
The most important thing to work on is the recall. Come to me.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
driving me nuts.
So, and I think Maddie has a couple of videos up on the puppy playlist on that stuff. Otherwise, we're working on getting more content up. Feel free, if you look up how to teach my puppy to come when called, using food, you'll come across a lot of stuff. I usually recommend Kiko Pup, KIKOPUP. She's a positive reinforcement trainer. She's pretty good. She's kind of like my laid back personality, because you'll get some pretty exuberant characters out there.
Sure.
So that just people are like, this is too much. I'm like, yeah, I might just go to somebody else. Okay.
Okay. No, we
Pretty
appreciate
good
that.
one.
Cool. Well, thank
Awesome.
you so much for your time again today. We appreciate it.
For sure. So I'll see you in a week. And if any questions pop up, just shoot me an email.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Take care.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Take care.